You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 137. Fancy doing a bit of crystal ball gazing with me? Of course you do. Today on the Small and Supercharged podcast, I'm going to make some predictions for 2021. If you're listening, I'd love you to screenshot, share to stories and tell me one of your predictions for 2021. These are going to be quite serious ones. Not sort of terrifyingly serious, but they're definitely going to be more around the kind of social media, digital and online space. So don't worry, we're not going full on hocus pocus. I'm not going to do that to you today. But quite a lot of people do predictions for next year. Although I have to say that if I went back in time a year and someone said, what would you have predicted for 2020? I would not have predicted what has happened in 2020. So let's take all of this with a pinch of salt, shall we? But I do think that obviously the predictions here are very much based on trends I have seen, trends that are growing. And yeah, hopefully they'll be useful to you because I genuinely think that this is the way that things are going to be going. And obviously if you can get ahead of it, then that's a really positive thing too. So the first one, which I don't think is any surprise to anyone, is that virtual is going to continue. Obviously, as I'm recording this now, the vaccine is still being rolled out, which is really exciting and really, really amazing news. But based on the kind of speed of the rollout and obviously all the information we're hearing about the speed of everything happening, I think realistically we're going to be in a socially distanced world for a while yet. Being really positive when we're out of this. I think that there are still going to be people who are hesitant about going out to in-person events. And I have to say, at the time of recording this, I'm absolutely definitely with them. The thought of being in a large group of people at the moment, based on everything that's happened over the last 9-12 months, makes me feel quite anxious. So I think a lot of us are going to be sticking with virtual for a bit longer because we've got into that habit now. But I also think that one of the good things that's come out of 2020 is that a lot of online conferences, online trainings that were in-person events before have been made virtual, and that means they're accessible to everyone. I know there's big social media conferences that go on all over the world, and instead of having to literally catch a plane and take 2 weeks out of your working schedule, you can turn on your computer, watch a day, watch an hour, watch it on catch up and replay, and make it fit in around you. So I think virtual is going to continue, and I think that is great. The advances in technology through 2020, the new platforms that have popped up, or perhaps the platforms that have become a lot more part of our day-to-day lives, allow virtual to work in a much more inclusive way, a way that makes people feel as involved as they want to be. It's not quite the same as being in there, you don't get the atmosphere and everything else, but it is a brilliant way of being able to cross continents, to get more learning, get more education, go to more places without having to travel anywhere. So prediction 1, virtual is going to continue. I reckon that the level of virtual we've had in 2020 is going to stay with us, which I have to say I am excited about the additional opportunities this can bring. I think influencer marketing will continue to grow, but I also think that influencers are going to have to work harder, because I think that during 2020 we saw a lot of people who grew their social media accounts, who started working with more and more brands. And the thing is that because brands get approached by so many influencers now, and a lot of people offering to do things for free or very, very little money, when an influencer goes in with a bigger fee or more demands, they really are going to have to prove why they're worth it. And that's not being critical, but think about it from the brand's point of view. You've got all these people pitching, and some have got higher followings, some have got lower followings, some are offering to do it for free, some are offering to some would like you to pay them a lot of money for it. There's lots of different aspects that help a brand make a decision as to which influencer that they're going to support. But with a busy, flooded marketplace, the brands can be a lot more selective over who they do work with, and also they can be a lot more descriptive, both, about what they want, what they expect, and what that influencer has to do for their fee. So I think that the trend in influencer marketing will continue, but I think they'll have to work a lot harder. And I also think that many are going to have to work harder for their audience too, because I'm seeing more and more posts from people on social, obviously everyone's an influencer because you can influence people's decisions, but I see more and more posts from people who are getting fed up of everything being an ad on certain people's channels, platforms. And obviously that's down to the influencer, what they want to do, but I think if they want to keep their audience engaged, they need to really think about who they're working with, making sure that they are really adding value to their audience, and also making sure that they're not just saturating their audience with ad, because like when a brand is on social media, if every single post an ad, people turn off and they become less and less engaged. So I think they're going to have to work a lot harder. I think brand loyalty is going to be something that is really important. And again, this is something I've seen definitely towards the end of 2020. I saw quite a few rumblings on social media about how some brands were working with influencers that other people who have got bigger followings, who were real fans of that brand, didn't feel they should be working with. So I think that brand loyalty and influencer marketing are really interesting spaces to watch, because I think that we'll see that the way that some brands work with influencers can actually have a detrimental impact on their brand loyalty with their wider community. So I think that'll be a really interesting dynamic to watch. I'm quite excited about that one, because I've been seeing it a little bit for a while, but definitely towards the end of 2020, I saw a lot more kind of disgruntled people, interesting comments, and I just think it's really important. I think it's a really important part of the predictions for 2021. And if you're a brand, I would really be aware of it. Because I think it could really bite quite hard. So that's one. That's a fun one. I've put here that in-person events will also have a virtual angle. That's really connected to the top one, but I think we will start obviously getting more in-person events through when we're allowed. My prediction is summer. I'm going to be honest with you. My prediction is summer. I think stuff will creep in before then, but I think summer is the time when it'll get more. But I do think there will be that virtual angle. I think the next prediction is that working together will always win. 2020 made collaborations more important. There were some incredible collaborations out there that did amazing things. Raised money for charity, genuinely lifted people up when they were feeling down. And I think good collaborations will always win. And the good's the key part here. We need to make sure that working together is really important. Working together, spreading important messages, doing good, making people smile is really, really important. But don't just go, oh God, I need to do something. You'll do. No, mate, think about it. Think about who you're going to work with. Working together is really, really good. But do it well. Do it with the right people. The next one is that platforms will continue to evolve. And I think we've seen this quite a lot in 2020. With Instagram, we've had the introduction of Reels, and we've also had the introduction of guides. They're the kind of big changes, but they have also made lots of other little tweaks in the platform. With Twitter, we've had the introduction of fleets, which is a lot like stories. With LinkedIn, they've added LinkedIn stories. Obviously, Facebook. At the moment, Facebook are trying to, or are encouraging the use of specific hashtags, which is something that didn't really work until not that long ago. But over the last few months, that has been something that has been promoted. So the platforms are evolving. I assume very much in line with the trends and where the demand is, and how that's all going. So they will continue to evolve. And I know it's frustrating because just when you get used to something, bam, it changes. But that's just the way it is. We don't control these platforms. We have the privilege of using them, but we don't control them. So all we can do is, as they evolve, we evolve. That's all we can do. And I don't mean that I kind of will just give up, but arguing against it isn't going to help. I mean, don't get me wrong, when things change and they move everything around and I can't find anything that used to be where it was, I'm as frustrated as the next person. It's flipping annoying. But also, I get the privilege of using these for free. I get to pop onto any social media platform that I want, that I have got a presence on, and talk about my business, talk about my horse, talk about my dog, spread my message, find people who have the same values as I have. How cool is that? That's mega. So the platforms will continue to evolve, but the only way to kind of deal with that is to sort of roll with the punches a bit and just go, yeah, I'm going to just learn how to do this and try and do really well at it. I believe that when it comes to things like stories and lives, rough, ready, and unedited will grow. And I, for one, am delighted by that. I like to see people in their natural habitat, sharing what they're passionate about, talking about what they love, not behind full faces of makeup, preened within each of their life. I just like to see people as people are. And for me, the rough, ready, and unedited stories, lives, and all of that is absolutely at my street. I think we're all really craving that authenticity, that connection with people that is their true self. And I think that during 2020, during the first lockdown particularly, seeing people show up as they were was really nice. It was really good, and it really did allow you to connect with them. So I hope, that's my prediction, but I hope it's true, that rough and ready is going to win. That doesn't mean shabby and rubbish, but it just means, you do your best, you make sure the light's in your favour, you get yourself set up well, but then you just crack on. And I think that's really, I'm excited if that comes true. I think social media is going to become even more important than ever. Every year, social media has grown and developed. And I think, again, 2020 has really shown the power of it, the power of making these connections and the power of forming communities through it. The power of community should never be underestimated. And I think that this year has shown that, 2020 has shown that. And I think that because of the more remote way that we have had to live, we haven't been able to go and see people. We've been able to form these communities online. And I think that social media is such a key part of that. And I know that people get quite cross about social media, but, and I've said this more than one time, it's not the platform's fault. It's like, I say it's not the platform's fault, it's what you feed it. So the platforms are brilliant. They provide such a great place for people to be, for people to share, to hang out, to communicate. But if you've got the wrong people inside your network, so you are not connecting with people that inspire or delight or anything else positive, you're going to think social is awful because it is the way that you use it. And I would definitely urge you to get muting, get unfollowing, whatever you want to do to make sure that your feed, your profile, whatever, is how you want it. It's allowing you to consume the information that you want to consume, because I think it's going to get bigger, and I think that businesses who are still resisting are really going to get left behind even more, and I don't want that for you. If you're listening and you're like, oh, I don't like it, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it, you just have to know how it works. There's loads of things in the world, in business, that I think we all do. I hate accounts. Sorry if you're listening and you're an account person. I flipping hate accounts. But I have to do them. Legally. But I have to do them. If social media is like that to you, that's fine. But please get on board, because otherwise you're going to get left behind, and you don't want to do that. You really don't. I think it's going to grow more and more. I think platforms will continue to evolve. I think they're going to try and make additional opportunities for us. And if you're not in the arena, you're not going to benefit. And I don't want that for you. I really don't. I think websites will continue to be updated and have new features and be faster and all the good things there, because again, through 2020, we leaned on websites so much, particularly retailers who also had a bricks and mortar presence, who did most of their business through their shop, They've had to lean on their websites more. They've had to have e-commerce functionality built in. And I think that with all this innovation, we're going to see some really exciting things there. Connected to this as well, mailing lists are going to become even more important, because as much as I love social media, and I do, we obviously have to contend with the algorithm that works out who sees our content. And I get that, we need algorithms so we don't get completely overwhelmed by everyone we follow in the whole world. It's doing a clever job, I get that. But if you want to communicate to your customers when you want to, and you want to communicate with people who definitely want to hear from you, you need to be putting some time into growing your mailing list. And again, I think that towards the end of, through the whole of 2020, for brands that couldn't communicate with their customers in a consistent way when they wanted, without any filters or restrictions, that is a problem. It's important that you can communicate with the people that want to hear from you when you have something to share. And if you're not able to do that because you haven't grown your list and you haven't worked on your list, start. And when you start, you'll have one person on your list who's probably going to be you, but it will grow. People giving you your email address, giving you their email address for you to email them, is incredibly valuable. So don't think, well, I haven't started yet, it's too late for me. It's not. 100 people who really want to hear from you on your list is massive. That you can communicate whenever you want. You've got a sale, you've got a new product coming out, and you can tell 100 people. If you've had to phone 100 people and say, I've got a really cool product that's launching now on the website, it's really lovely, I think you're going to adore it, and they go and look, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? So don't think, oh, I haven't got millions and thousands of millions. Just start and grow that list. It puts you in control of who you can contact. And also, we have heard, I'd say more and more, I've heard it more and more, but I don't know whether that's just because I speak to more and more people, of, Instagram accounts having a wobble, or Facebook going off, and people not being able to access their own accounts, or getting hacked, or something horrible like that. If you've got your mailing list, you can still contact your warm leads, the people who are interested in what you're saying. You're not having to solely rely on something you don't control. So please do look into that a bit more for me. One thing from this, do that one. Only got 2 more to go, don't panic. The next one is, I think that video will continue to rise. I think that video in the form of live stories, or just video content on YouTube or the different platforms, has been amazing in 2020, and I think it's going to continue to rise. It tends to rise year on year, and I think that especially if we are we're not going out to as many places, I think being able to see more of people or of products is really important. I know towards the end of 2020 I was looking for a new car, and a lot of the car people were doing video tours of the car, and I saw a couple online where they were walking you around the car, showing you all the bits, taking you inside the car, showing you the stuff inside the car, and just making you understand a lot more about it before you get in your car to go and see them, because obviously they had COVID restrictions, possibly still got them, probably have when you're listening to this. So at least it meant that if they were going to sanitize and get that car ready, there was a good chance you were actually interested in it, rather than looking at it going, oh, I didn't know it had that. I didn't know it had a wooden dashboard or something like that. So I think videos will continue to increase, and I think that, again, it's a really good opportunity to leverage that form of media in what you're doing, because I think it's definitely where you win. It's free to do if you've got your phone. You can make really good quality videos on your phone. There really is no barrier to entry. Perhaps you're kind of the way that you feel about it, but also think about when you see stuff online and you look at how they're doing it. Think about the additional experience that brings to you and how that helps you with what you're trying to achieve. And the last one I have got is about automated experiences from brands, which I think will continue to increase because of the increase in online attention and online traffic. But I hope that they will get better. I know there are lots of different services where you can have things on your website that are like a live chat. I don't know how many of you have used these. So there's some that I've used and they're really, really good. You get through to an advisor from the company. They're really good. They're really good. You go through a few questions so you know which department you're heading towards. Brilliant. I've also had a lot of experiences where the live chat person knows less than I do about the product, and I've been advised incorrectly. I've been told they need to go and speak to someone about, about a basic thing, not about something particularly technical. And I've just found the whole experience very off-putting. It's not really made me want to do anything with the brand. I think when they direct you in the right direction, but then you have that knowledge there, they're brilliant, because they definitely stop someone being passed from pillar to post, which is massive. So obviously this is a kind of a hybrid of the automation with real life interaction. But I do think you can have really strong automation as well if people have got, specific questions that you get asked a lot, that you can point them in that direction. Amazing. But I do think that, and I hope that the quality of that automation, the quality of that bot essentially will improve. I think when that does happen, that could be massively valuable, because obviously they can be working whilst you sleep and it doesn't matter about the time zones. But I think they will continue to rise and we'll see more and more of them. But I also really, really hope, and I'm pretty confident that it will work, that this will happen as well, that they will improve. I think that's going to happen too. So they were I don't know how many predictions for 2021. I'd love to know yours. As I said, please screenshot, please share to stories. Please let me know if you've tuned in. I would love to hear your predictions. And obviously, if you're keen to make sure that you are making the most of any of those predictions, to be quite honest, but also anything that you're dealing with in the here and now, don't forget about the Small and Supercharged Mastermind or Small and Supercharged Extra membership groups. These are both fab places to be. They will help you improve your social media, connect and network. The Small and Supercharged Mastermind group is also quite a business development group. So we have a lot of lives in there. We have video masterclasses. We have opportunities to get posted. We have a weekly live. We have a monthly social media critique. There's an awful lot going on in there. And with Extra, you get a monthly cheat sheet, 5 social media ideas in PDF form. We have a monthly live. And there's just a lovely community. There's a great community in both, but they will really help you become a lot more confident and upskill for 2021 and beyond. You can find more about both of these groups over on my website, Ria Freeman PR. If you go to the Work With Me drop down, they are both there. But Extra is £19 per calendar month, which is just done by recurring PayPal payments. And Mastermind is £40 per calendar month. And you do also get Extra as part of that for free, as it is included. So big thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope you've really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see what your crystal ball predictions are for the next 12 months too. Have a great day.